So this is the longest I've gone without a video since I started making them, and there's a good excuse for that. I had a bunch of dental work done, and it was kind of hard to talk. I still plan on doing a review of Witch Queen, and I'm gonna talk about Salt and Sacrifice, which I believe is not nearly as good as the first game. But after engaging with all of you about my Elden Ring video, I wanted to give a few more examples of the things that annoyed me about the game. And once I started, I ended up replaying the whole game, and then about half of an NG Plus run. And sometime during that whole thing, I started to understand why people's responses to Elden Ring is more divisive than the previous Souls games. It almost all boils down to the way the game is balanced and how easy it is to end up either over-leveled or under-leveled as you play. When you combine that with massive player power creep and bosses designed around that power creep, you get a game that can swing pretty wildly based on how you want to play and what kind of experience you look for in a Souls-like. I'm going to try to keep this short because the longer the videos are, the less views they get, and it feels like a massive fucking waste of my time to make a video for 300 people. So just a real quick look at Elden Ring's odd balance and the dangerous power creep From has allowed to seep into the game. After the logo. It's a big game. I get it that people seem to think that Elden Ring's massive size is an unambiguously good thing. I disagree. And it's not just that I generally prefer games in the 20-hour range because I like variety in my hobby. The size and length of Elden Ring has some significant effects on the gameplay in a way no previous title has. My complaints with Elden Ring boil down to a few things. 1. There are way too many 1 or 2 hit kills from bosses. 2. There were far too many enemies with seemingly endless attack chains. And 3. Too many bosses have punish windows that are way too short to actually feel fun. Let's start with the first one because many commenters on my last video seem to think my complaints about the game would be entirely solved by pumping a stupid amount of points into Vigor. After a second playthrough, putting some extra points into Vigor, the amount of one-hit kills does go down. But it does not at all solve my issues with bosses like Malenia, Radagon, and others. I'm not a big fan of open world games in general. Elden Ring is one of the best open world games I've played because I love Souls-like combat. But it's that good despite being an open world game, not because of it for me. After finishing Elden Ring, I went back to replay Sekiro and Bloodborne, and in my opinion, those games are vastly superior to Elden Ring in just about every way, aside from how long they are. I am not the kind of guy who likes to aimlessly wander a map. Hell, that's why I like Souls games as much as I do. They're tight and focused. You have a clear path that's carefully designed. The game presents carefully balanced challenges to you, and you overcome those challenges. I have never farmed levels in a Souls game, and I never found myself ever having to come back to something later. The entire core of my person is simply not wired to do that. The first time I saw that Black Knight in Undead Burg, I fought that fucking thing until I killed it. That's the kind of person I am. I'm stubborn. My first playthrough of Elden Ring, I fought the Tree Sentinel at level 1 and banged my head against him until he died. Every attack killed me, and it was frustrating, but I did it, and I knew that that was this game's version of the Black Knight in Undead Burg, or the Executioner at the beginning of Bloodborne. A one-time challenge for weirdos like me. Then I went further and came across the Crucible Knight, who also one-hit killed me with almost every attack. Has an extremely unfair heal punish that early in the game, and an extremely unintuitive tail swipe that he can do twice in a row, killing you with either one. That's when I started to get pissed off. Then I go to Stormveil, probably at about level 15 or so, and that's where an issue that's all through Elden Ring really became apparent. Stormveil at level 15 is extremely annoying, but almost nothing one-hit kills you, even at such a low level and with only a +2 weapon, which is what I had. The overpowered knights killed me a few times, but most of the stuff felt reasonable, and I made it through with nothing about it making me think I was insanely under-leveled or that I needed to go farm for souls. And then I had Margit one-hit kill me with most of his regular attacks. The fact is, if you followed the Sites of Grace and just make your way to Stormveil, you will arrive there underleveled, and if you stick it out like me, you may stay underleveled for a good long spell thereafter. And Elden Ring has a real problem with bosses doing massive